Hey everyone, so today we're going to dive deep into just one single word. It's a word you hear all the time, especially when we talk about national security, homeland. But have you ever really stopped to think about it? Like, what does that word actually mean, and where did we even get it from?
Yeah, you've definitely seen this seal before, right? It's the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. This was the massive agency that was created right after the 9/11 attacks. And now, it's pretty much one of the most recognizable symbols of national security in the U.S.
But let's go back to that word, homeland. It feels so official now, but it wasn't always a word you'd hear in American politics. So where did it come from? And why that word? Why not nation or country or something else?
Okay, so that's where we're going to start. Because believe it or not, when Homeland first entered the American political conversation, it wasn't exactly a smooth landing. In fact, it was super controversial right from the get-go.
The reactions at first were all over the place. For one thing, it just sounded different. American presidents had always said nation or country. Homeland was a big break from that tradition. Then you had some people who immediately pointed out that it sounds a lot like the German word Heimat, which has some pretty heavy nationalistic baggage. Others kind of rolled their eyes and said it was just some sterile, bureaucratic word made up to talk about terrorism. But maybe the biggest worry was this. It took the idea of home, something warm and positive, and sort of twisted it into something narrow, something to be afraid of.
So, okay, with all that pushback, you'd think maybe the word wouldn't stick. But it did, and it stuck hard. So why? Well, it's because homeland isn't just a word. It's a really, really powerful metaphor. And if we want to get why it's so influential, we got to look at how these kinds of metaphors actually work, especially in politics.
I love this quote from the poet Robert Frost. It just perfectly captures that deep emotional punch the word home has, right? It's this idea of a place of total, unconditional belonging, a sanctuary. It's something we all just get on a gut level.
And that is what makes it such an effective political tool. See, a political metaphor takes all those feelings, all those memories we have about a word like home, and it focuses them like a laser beam. It's like a mental shortcut that can get everyone on board with a new policy fast. And this is the really key point. By calling it Homeland Security, the government wasn't just giving an agency a name. No, it was plugging directly into our deepest, most primal feelings about what it means to be safe and to belong.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The word home isn't simple. It actually has two very different, almost competing meanings packed inside of it. So first, let's look at the ancient, more expansive one, the idea of home as a place of nurture. This picture just says it all, doesn't it? It feels like a place of comfort, of light, of peace. It's open, it's welcoming. This is that idea of home, where you can just relax, be yourself, and feel safe in this really positive, trusting kind of way. And this bigger, broader meaning of home, it has super deep roots in history. The word itself can be traced all the way back to a Sanskrit term that means dwelling in a secure place. But secure here means so much more than just having walls around you. It's about comfort, familiarity, trust. It's that sense of meaning you get from your relationships, not just from the building you live in. It's a place of refuge and peace, a place that doesn't just protect you, but actually helps you grow. That's home as a place of nurture.
Okay, but then there's the other definition, a much narrower one, and this is the one that has really been emphasized politically. It's the idea of home not as a welcoming space, but as a fortress that has to be defended at all costs from outside threats.
Wow, yeah, the contrast between this image and the last one couldn't be more stark, could it? The whole focus just shifts. We go from those open, nurturing vibes to borders, uniforms, and control. It's the perfect picture of that shift in meaning, from home as a place of comfort to home as a territory that needs defending. Look, this isn't just us reading into it. It's spelled out plain as day in the department's own mission statement. Just listen to the words they use: prevent and deter, ensure safe and secure borders. The focus is completely, overwhelmingly on defense. It narrows that big, beautiful concept of home down to just one thing: physical security, mostly at the border. This framing of home as a fortress is, of course, a very powerful political strategy. The source material we're looking at points out that it's been used by all sorts of leaders, from the George W. Bush administration to the Donald Trump administration here in the U.S. But it's also been used by other governments throughout history, like the apartheid regime in South Africa, to justify policies that are really all about exclusion and controlling the borders.
So, where does that leave us? What's the big takeaway here? Well, it seems like we're left with a choice. We can either go along with this very narrow, very defensive idea of our homeland, or we can try to reclaim that fuller, richer meaning of what it really means to be home.
And let's just remind ourselves what that bigger meaning is all about. It's not just about walls and borders, right? It's about being a place of refuge and peace, a place for intimacy and nurturing. It's about being a community where we all have obligations to each other, a place where we build a legacy for the next generation. It's just a much, much bigger and, honestly, more hopeful idea.
And that brings us to one last big question to chew on. What would happen if our policies were actually built around that idea of home? How would our whole concept of national security change if we fully embraced the nurturing, expansive meaning of home instead of the fearful, defensive one? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me